All right, ladies and gentlemen, guys, we'd like to welcome you to the show. This is your host of the evening, DJJustJayOK. I'm here to tell you guys about a story that I don't know if you've heard of this or not, but it was a really crazy story that happened in the news very recently. At least that we got a verdict about it recently. So what I want to do is I want to tell you guys real quickly about a story that came up because I thought it was important because there's some dynamics that I wanted to talk about. Because, of course, one of the things that we do is we advocate for children first. Here at the So Do You Dig, there's a contrast that I want to point out between two different stories. One between this story, and I'm going to call out what this gentleman, his name is Jeffrey Zeigler, what he did wrong. And I also want to call out some things that what we can do to make sure that these situations also do not happen. I'm telling you guys, I think that the contrast is going to be very telling. So hopefully people that watch this on the replay, especially the family, guys, I'm getting more and more emails from family and stuff like that. Like I said, I completely understand. And I thank the families that are contacting me. But I hope they understand that my whole point is to try to point out a contrast that I think is fair on both sides. So hopefully everybody understands where I'm coming from. So without any further ado, here we go. This man on my screen right here, that man's name is Jeffrey Zeigler, which is a white man, obviously, and he was captured on surveillance video stepping out of his house to fire a shotgun upon a black teen who had just knocked on the door and asked for directions, but he's been found guilty by a Michigan jury. So I'm going to tell you guys that again. There was a kid that came and knocked on his door, number one. And if you come over here and ask me about being unblocked on a show that we're currently not on, then you have to go to that show and go email him on his website. Okay? Do me a favor. You have to email him on his website. So here we go. Again, there was a young man right here. I don't know if they gave his name or not, but I'm not going to put his name out there unless it's actually in the story. But what he did was he was on tape and he walked up to this guy's door and he knocked, based on what we could tell, he knocked on the door, waited only like a few moments, and next thing you know, he backed away from the porch, and then he just took off running. Like he took off full sprint in the other direction, away from that house, and you see a guy come out shirtless, didn't have a belt on or anything like that, and he came out and he aimed a shotgun in that direction, and then he turned around and shot the shotgun. So you guys are actually going to be able to see that video also in the same exact direction that young kid was running. Okay. So I want everybody to understand what the premise of this story is. What they're saying is that this kid missed the school bus. He was walking to school and he ended up stopping at somebody's house, apparently that he did not know, knocked on the door. He was greeted with an angry white man. That white man came out of the house with a shotgun and shot in his direction. That's what happened. Straight up and down. There's a lot of other things that we could point out in this story, but we're going to put a pin in that part. We'll come back to it here in a little bit. Now, that man is Jeffrey Zeigler, age 53, and he was convicted of assault with intent to do great bodily harm and possession of a firearm in the commission of a felony, which is, that's rough. Now, he had been initially charged with assault to commit attempted murder, which is an even worse charge, okay? Now, around 8 a.m. on April 12th, Walker was attempting, oh yes, they did give his name. So here we go. Walker was attempting to walk to Rochester High School after missing the bus when he found himself lost and knocked out on Zeigler's and knocked on Zeigler's door in Rochester Hills. Let me read that again. He missed the bus around 8 a.m. He was attempting to walk to Rochester High School because he missed the bus. Number one, why did he miss the bus? And number two, why didn't his mother, which you guys saw a picture of her on there. And guys, do not time anybody out. I don't mind the comments for right now. We're supposed to ask questions. I want people to be able to speak, okay? So let's not jump to too many conclusions just yet. For now, let's not time out anybody, okay? If we could. So my whole point about this is to always question the difference between right and wrong. When we talk about right and wrong, the first thing I want to know is, number one, why did he miss the bus? Number 2, why didn't his mom take him? Number 3, most kids have access to cell phones. Even if they don't, they've got these free, Obama phones that he provided, during his presidency. I'm pretty sure that they're still pretty easy to get. I still see tents set up in a bunch of different types of low-income neighborhoods. Those phones should be pretty easy to get. Let alone that the phone plans are pretty easy to get. So in my opinion, why didn't he reach out to his mom? I don't know. But nonetheless, that does not make him going and knocking at someone's door wrong. I don't see anything particularly wrong with that. Okay, let's keep going. Now, he encountered Jeffrey Zeigler's wife, and her name is Dana Zeigler, who started screaming after mistaking him for a burglar. Guys, this is about to get really good, okay? Once the boy knocked on the door, Jeffrey Zeigler, his wife, started screaming after mistaking him for a burglar. The reason why this is complicated for me, and the reason why this is complicated for white people and black people to understand is, number 1, why would she scream when all he did was knock at the fucking door? That's not something to scream at. She shouldn't have felt threatened. But then again, when you have stories like when I did the story about the mom and the son and his 2 friends knocking on the door and breaking into people's houses, could it be thought that this type of thing happens often, especially when the fact that his age group, and you see stories out there all the time of his age group, his skin tone, wearing the uniform that looks like someone who does these things that he sees in the news, and automatically think this might be one of those situations, especially the fact that young kids like him, his age, that aren't in school, that should have been in school at that time, was not in school, might have been an indication in Jeffrey Zeigler's mind initially that, hey, this might be the one that's going to break into my house. Is it possible is all I'm asking. We have to look at this unobjectionably from both sides. That's why I say this story might be a little hard for some people to stomach. So what I'm going to do, which is in rare form, we're going to show a video right away, but let me give the fair usage, and then I'm going to show you guys a video, and I want you to tell me, does this not set a proper premise for the show? Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. Okay, Flute Matt said, did he have a mask on? No, he did not have a mask on. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a story that happened recently this year also of a same similar situation where they didn't have masks on at all. And it was actually a woman that knocked on the door, a black woman, a relatively good looking black woman on top of that. And they in this house ended up getting robbed. So let me show you this story.
What a break in the case, a huge break in these celebrity burglaries that police have been looking for the suspects for. They've arrested 4 gang members and their associates in this string of celebrity burglaries that has been going on. Take a look. Now, police say some of the suspects were caught after a routine traffic.
Let me back it up because they moved through that kind of quick. This picture, this photo is a son about this dude's age in this story. And that's his mom on the other side. The mom was the one knocking on the door in order to make sure no one was home for the son and his 2 friends to break in to celebrity houses. All right. Now, that's an old story. I'm using it to compare to say, what if this is actually what he thought?
Take a look. Now, police say some of the suspects were caught after a routine traffic stop where they found guns and more. The break in the case came after LA Rams wide receiver Robert Woods' Woodland Hills home was broken into. Now, property and cash recovered over the last 2 weeks may match some of the property that was taken from Rihanna's home when it was burglarized, Christina Milian's home, and Dodger outfielder Yasiel Puig's home. Now, police say this has been going on for months and months, and they believe this crew and others have been involved in at least a dozen, if not more, burglaries. Now, property taken valued into the millions. Police say this organized ring targeted celebrities and watched when they would be home. They said they had a particular way that they worked.
The group continuously changed their attire and appearance, wearing button-down shirts and driving luxury cars, all while scouting the homes of known celebrities and athletes as potential targets. The suspects refer to this practice as flocking, as they flock like birds to areas where the rich and famous resided. Once a potential target home was selected, a larger vehicle would be utilized to provide the suspects the opportunity to change into more comfortable clothing and hoodies to avoid being recognized, and to cart away the stolen goods.
Now, police say that all this property that was stolen could value into the millions. They did show us some pictures of cash. You'll see that on CBS 2 News at 5. They also recovered a list of more potential targets, celebrities. They had their addresses and everything. Those included people like Viola Davis and LeBron James. Live downtown, I'm Lisa Siegel with breaking news.
Okay, now, again, as a reminder for people that aren't following this so far, I showed you guys that to make a comparison. In all honesty, that young man on my screen on the far right side looks about the same age as the mother and son duo. He's also about the same skin tone, and he also dresses about as casually as the other young man did, okay? And in that duo, the mother and son couple, they actually said they've done dozens of those. We know that our youth commit a high rate of crime. 50% of the population, of the prison population, is consumed by black men. 50%. More than half of the prison population is black men, most of them coming from the youth. Okay? That's a high rate for such a small populace of people. The reason why I keep talking about these stories is because I'm trying to show you how we get to this. How do we get to a white man that sees a young black man lost from school? The wife starts yelling. He comes out and shot a shotgun in his direction to make him scatter. There's also another video where I can show you where there was a black teen that walked up to someone's house that was actually in from vacation, and he pointed a gun at him, and the husband came out because he demanded the keys, and the husband came out and actually started shooting in his direction, and then the teen ended up returning fire. So what are you insinuating? What I'm saying, I'm not insinuating anything. What I'm doing is I'm pointing out to you some situations that could show you guys how we get to where we are. And when we talking about being responsible, what I'm insinuating is that if we had more fathers in black households, most of this shit wouldn't go on. So if you want to know what I'm insinuating, that's my point. If you want to know what point I'm driving home, we need to start having fathers in the household by the biological father in the black household, and things like this would not happen. Do you want to know how we get to that conclusion? Listen to the show more often. Listen to the clues that I'm pointing out. Listen to the things that I'm saying, because the boy did something that was emotional and it's not logical. Number one, it's not logical to be late for school and be late for the school bus, and it's not logical to not know what your route is to school. How many people are with me on that? It's not logical for a young man of his age to not know the route to school. It's not his first day at school. You guys get where I'm coming from? Now that we've talked about the black side of this, now let's talk about Mr. Jeffrey Zeigler. Let's get on to him just as well as everybody else in our community has. Number one, just because somebody knocks at your door don't mean that you got the right to shoot them on your front porch. Because I'm going to tell you guys something from somebody that carries a license, that has been trained with weaponry, that has a license from the state of Texas, and I was also trained in the state of Oklahoma, so I'm in 2 different states. I can tell you this. One thing that you cannot do is if you think somebody's breaking into your property, you can't shoot them on the front porch. You can shoot them once they cross the threshold of your home. If they're inside your window, if they're inside your home, once they cross across your front door, then it's game on. But I'm going to show you guys this video because not only was this young man not in the house, he didn't cross over the threshold, he knocked at the door, and there was a relative amount of distance from him to the front door. Now, apparently, from what I hear, there was also a screen door. So he knocked through both of them without reaching to pull the door open or anything like that. He just knocked through it. Supposedly, Dana Zeigler screamed, and here come her husband with a shotgun real quick. And as soon as the young man seen that, he darted and took off running. So whatever your mission was accomplished at that point. You scared him. You scared this young man. You scared this young black man. He ran. That's what you're supposed to do if you're in fear for your life. But one thing anybody will tell you that has any level of gun proficiency, if they've been trained in the law of the land, whenever you have a concealed carry license, they tell you that you cannot shoot someone in the back. That you cannot do. You cannot. Okay, Infinite Jest says you can shoot them outside in Florida, stand your ground. That's bullshit. Look up the law for stand your ground. We did an entire show about stand your ground. That is a lie, and I would appreciate it if you would actually look it up. Just Google search the words Florida stand your ground law, because it's not actually stand your ground law only in Florida. That law applies to the majority of the states in the United States of America. Look it up. And it does not justify you shooting someone in the back. You can't, and then on top of that, it has to meet a lot of different things in order for you to draw your weapon and shoot someone, period. What you guys saw with the story where the man got shot in the chest by the white guy that got pushed on the ground, what you saw from that, the reason that happened was because the black man came out and boom, pushed him. The man flipped over and he caused harm, and the white man said he believed in his mind that the dude was coming for more. He pulled out his gun and shot him in the chest. So in the stand your ground law, this young man would have had to inflict some type of damage. Look up the law before you say things. You can't just feel like your life was threatened. There has to be something that threatened your life. And somebody knocking on your door doesn't count as a fucking threat. Someone knocking at your front door, ringing your front door, standing on your front porch, standing on your yard, being on your property does not justify shooting at them or shooting to kill. I'm not super proficient when it comes to law, but one thing I can tell you is that whenever we had that situation, I can't remember that dude's name, the Florida shooter, the stand your ground law guy, the most recent one. We looked up that law and we read it to the T. That was a very long show. This doesn't qualify as stand your ground. Not even close. And I'm going to tell you why. Again, this guy was convicted to do great bodily harm and possession of a firearm in commission of a felony. So he was wrong, and he was 3 times wrong. All right? Now, you can see from the videos, too, when he's on the porch, Mr. Zeigler does appear to supposedly slip, but that's beside the point. His right hand is barely even on the gun when the goes off. You could tell he doesn't have control of the gun, Murad said, which Murad, I believe, is his defense attorney. He wasn't trying to kill him when the gun went off. Now, the prosecutor, Kelly Collins, countered in her closing argument saying, just because he wasn't successful doesn't negate what his intent was. So in April, Walker described his encounter with Dana Zeigler. He said, this is the young man talking. I knocked on her door a few times and she came down yelling at me before I could say anything, and she thought I was trying to break into her house. I was trying to explain to her that I wanted to get directions to go to school. I told her, no, I go to Rochester High. I'm just looking for directions to Rochester High. In court, Dana Zeigler testified that she saw a black person at her door that day and started screaming. I want you guys to hear that again. She testified that she saw a black person at her door and just started screaming. Most people would look at, what is the video called? I'm about to show you guys here in just a moment. People might look at this woman. This is Dana Zeigler. This is his wife. And I'm going to tell you guys something. Most people would look at her and say, what would cause her seeing a black person and her screaming? Well, I pointed out to you guys with the first video that I showed, because shit like that happens when they fit the description of the thing that they see and hear happen all the time. It makes people paranoid. Let me ask you guys a question. If you guys have never been bitten by a spider, but you have arachnophobia, if you saw a spider crawling across your wall, and a big one, what would you do? Would you automatically think, well, that spider's never bit me before. I've never had any bad experiences with that spider. Or would you freak the fuck out because you have arachnophobia? Most people like me would freak out because I have arachnophobia. Now, does that give me the right to put a hole through my wall? No. You still got to act rational. Everybody catch that? Just because I have arachnophobia don't mean that I go kick a hole in my wall trying to get rid of this so-called threat. You follow me? Now, let's keep going. She said, I was screaming as loud as I possibly could, saying there's someone breaking into my house. Number one, there was nobody breaking into her fucking house, which, like I said, is bullshit for her to do that. And this is why I believe that women play a crucial role when it comes to, not being, like pushing men in the direction that they should or should not go. It could be a good thing and it could be a really, really bad thing. So if a woman tells you that she got, something happened to her, if you're married to that woman, if you're in a relationship with that woman, that man is going to believe you without thinking. That's why Tommy tends to put most of the onus on women, because you guys know how much control mentally a woman has over a man. Even though we know women are irrational, we still tend to just outright, whatever she say, that's what goes. Happy wife, happy life. You guys heard that? Whatever the woman says, we just go with it. We just believe it. She said, oh my God, somebody's breaking into my house. Oh my God, there's a black man breaking into my house. He come down, boop, 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 boop. Bam! I'm shooting at everything moving. That'll teach him to come break into my house. So who's really to blame here? Is it Jeffrey Zeigler, who acted irrationally and came out of just shooting at something his wife told him? Or is it the wife's fault for not even like giving this man any time to think rationally at all? Me personally, I think they're both just as guilty. But let me show you guys the video. I've already given you the fair usage. Without any further ado, let's watch the video and you guys decide what you think. Let's get it.
Tonight, a Michigan jury has seen the surveillance video. The moment 14-year-old Brennan Walker knocks on Jeffrey Zeigler's front door. The high school freshman, who's African-American, said he was looking for directions when Zeigler, who's white, answered with a shotgun and fires at the teen.
I turned back and I saw him aiming at me. I was trying to run away faster and I had a gunshot.
Walker, who missed his bus on the way to school last April, got lost and needed help.
There's a lot more to the story than what's being told.
Zeigler, who's charged with assault with intent to murder, told investigators he thought he was being robbed and says when he tripped, his shotgun accidentally fired. Police say he clearly aimed.
That's just completely unacceptable on every level. So I don't know how you would justify it.
Tonight, the tale of the tape now in the hands of a jury after a 14-year-old could have been killed asking for directions. Miguel Almaguer, NBC News.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel.
Again, guys, I'm going to show you this video again. And I'm going to explain to you guys, now that I've already showed you the video, and I want you guys to watch this on the replay to post your comments in the comment section, but let's think rationally. Now that we can look at it from the outside looking in, let's look at this and let's see it from both sides, and then we can meet in the middle. Look at it unobjectionably from both sides, and then we can meet in the middle. First of all, if he's a freshman in high school, that makes perfect sense that he might not be super familiar with how to get to the high school. So I'll correct myself in saying that. Whether it's the first day of school, second or third, if it's his freshman year, I remember very vividly what it was like to be a freshman. You might not know automatically how to get there. Okay? I'll give him that. So, here we go. He knocks on the door, and he, like I said, he didn't cross the threshold of the door. He didn't open the screen door. He didn't reach. He just knocked. And you could see from the video, once he made contact with the wife and once he saw her, he backed up once she started screaming. He slightly backed up, and it looked like he was standing there trying to tell them why he was there. Next thing you know, here comes Mr. Jeffrey with the shotgun, and the dude takes off running. Real quick, watch it again.
Moment 14-year-old Brennan Walker knocks on Jeffrey Zeigler's front door.
Look how far back he is. To me, that's a respectful distance from my front door. You guys see that?
The high school freshman, who's African-American.
Okay, so made contact with the wife sees, screams,
Said he was looking
he backs up, and here comes the husband.
For
Gone.
directions when Zeigler, who...
Now, I want you guys to also catch this. It didn't take that dude that long to come with that damn shotgun, did it not? That didn't take him no time to grab that fucking shotgun. First of all, as soon as he comes out, he's aiming it in the direction of that kid. That's number one.
who's white.
Number two, he now puts it in his shoulder and he's lining up the sights on that kid from a fucking distance. Like he's about to shoot a fucking clay target or something.
Answered with a shotgun.
So he pulls back.
And
And then he pulls and shoots.
fires at the team.
He's got his eyes trained on his target.
I turned back and I saw him aiming at me. I was trying to run away faster and I had a gunshot.
Walker, who missed his bus on the way to school last April, got lost and needed help.
There's a lot more to.
As a matter of fact, if he was missing a bus in April, again, let me go back on my point. By April, this kid should have known where his fucking school was. That means he'd been in school potentially since August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. Anybody follow my logic? 9 months. Freshman or no freshman? How the fuck do you not know where your school is in 9 months as a freshman? Post your comments in the chat. Tell me if I'm wrong. What am I missing? There was a delay, but it still doesn't matter. He aimed the gun. So I want you guys to think about this, Rick. Yes, I agree with you. I did see the delay. But this is the problem with that. Once he came to the door with the gun, you've already done your job. He took off running. Your job is now done. What you cannot do is you cannot chase down your target. That's murder. Which is why he was initially charged with attempted murder. Because that kid was already, yards away. Multiple yards away. You trained your gun on a target from a distance. You cognitively were aware that your target was moving away from you. I'm going to tell you guys also something else. You guys remember the story that we just did about the update about the cop in Chicago? The 16 shots, Laquan McDonald? They got shot 16 times because the police said, I fear for my life. I thought he was coming in my direction when you found out that he was actually going away from the cop. You guys follow my logic? What happened to that cop when they found out that their quote-unquote target was moving away from them? Jason Van Dyke was convicted. Guilty. Jeffrey Zeigler, his target or the quote-unquote suspect was moving away from him. I'm telling you guys, this is where I'm going to tell you guys what the law is. It's your job to look up the law. You cannot train your target on a retreat. You cannot train your weapon on a retreating target. Thank you, DJ. The threat was gone. Well, I don't know. Devon said 25 meters. I don't know how far 25 meters is. I'm sorry. I wasn't the greatest in school. But I can tell you, he was some yards away. By the time Jeffrey Zeigler pointed his gun, and I'll back it up so you guys can see it. By the time
When Zeigler, who's white.
Boom. By the time he pointed his gun, you're talking about what, 15, 20 yards away? Let's say 10. Let's just say 10 to just be real small. What's going on, guys? Do me a favor and hit the thumbs up. It'll share the show and let other people know that we're live. Can y'all please share the show for me? Let's just say, to be real fair, he was 10 yards away. Based on what we see right here, he's about 10 yards away on the small side because he's jetting. He's running for his life. Matter of fact, I thought they played, to be real honest with you, just to be funny for a moment, just to be comical, if y'all don't mind. I thought they had put the video in fast forward when they got to that part because that's how fast he was running. I honestly thought the video was playing like in some type of fast forward or something. He's almost already to the street at a diagonal. The gun is trained on him right now. So let me ask you guys something. If your target is that far away from you, the way that the court sees this and the way a jury sees this and the way that the law sees this is how is this target being a threat to you? How is this suspect being a threat to you when he's that far away from you? That's number one. You see, he's moving. He's gone.
Answered with a shot.
Now, he continues to keep his gun trained on that target. Why? Why is the gun still trained on the target and the target is no longer in any relative sight? Definitely not close.
Shotgun and
he put his arm down right there.
Fires at the
And boom. Now I'm going to tell you guys something. If you accidentally shoot a gun, anybody who accidentally shoots a gun that didn't mean to actually shoot the gun is going to be some level of surprised. Now I'm going to back this up so you guys can see this again. And I want you to tell me, did he look like he gave a shit that he shot that gun?
looking for directions when Zeigler, who's white, answered with a shotgun and fires at the teen.
Does he look shocked? Does he look like he's like, oh crap, I accidentally shot this gun? He's thinking, yeah, you better get your black ass out of here. I'm telling you guys what he's actually thinking in that moment. I feel like I'm well versed enough in life to be able to tell you guys this within reason and understanding both sides of this argument. What he's thinking at this moment, Mr. Jeffrey Zeigler, is yup, you better get your black ass out of here. My wife told me that you were trying to rob her. This happened because of his stupid ass wife, and her name is Dana Zeigler. His wife is stupid, and her husband is now going to have to do jail time because of her stupidity. You follow me? Dana Zeigler is a dumbass. It's her fault.
I turned back and I saw him aiming at me. I was trying to run away faster and I had a gunshot.
Walker, who missed his bus on the way to school last April, got lost and needed help.
There's a lot more to the story than what's being told.
Zeigler, who
In all actuality, it's really not. This is like the shortest story you could possibly tell. This happened within seconds. There's more to the story. Bullshit. Bullshit. This happened within seconds. Once you're in jail, you could always look at it and say, well, hey, you know, now that I'm looking at it now I want to tell more to it. But from what we saw on video, what actually happened, there ain't more to the story. That was all that happened. He knocked on the door. Here come your crazy ass. Boom, I'm shooting a shotgun. End of story.
who's charged with assault with intent to murder, told investigators he thought he was being robbed and says when he tripped, his shotgun accidentally fired. Police say he clearly aimed.
Now, did you see that? Did you see him walk on out there like Mr. Badass? Watch him again.
When he tripped, his shotgun accidentally
Boom.
fired.
Now watch him walk out there. He didn't look like he was shocked.
Police say he clearly
Boom.
aimed.
You see that? That's the stance of a man that's like, yeah, you better get your black ass out of here. You better get the fuck off my property. That's that stance. You know, guys, I'm not the type of person to call a person out for being a bigot or anything like that. But I'm telling you guys again, the two sides of it is, number one, he did something wrong. His wife provoked him to doing something wrong. And the teen also is culpable in his part. And us as the black community is also accountable for us to continue to make people fearful of us. How many of you people understand all sides of the argument? How many of you people are smart enough to understand the entire story rather than just getting in your fucking feelings and just saying, hey, this story was wrong, end of discussion, because it's not. There's a lot more work that needs to be done here, or this shit is going to keep happening. In my opinion, I don't think you have, you know, the majority of of the white community is not like this. They're not. They don't Jeffrey Zeigler does not represent everybody in the white community. He just does not. He represents a small populace that is uniquely scared of black people. It is unique because of the fact that we bring this on ourselves by continuing to perpetuate violence, not only in the community, but in other people's community. And on top of that, we perpetuate violence against ourselves. We all are guilty. And that black dude, that black boy, almost paid for it with his life.
It's just completely unacceptable on every level. So I don't know how you would justify it.
Tonight, the tale of the tape now in the hands of a jury after a 14-year-old could have been killed asking for directions. Miguel Almaguer, NBC News.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking.
Again, like I said, I think that's weird after going to school for 9 months and you don't know where the school is, but let's keep going, guys.
Also developing tonight, the Rochester Hills homeowner accused of opening fire on a teenager has bonded out of jail. 53-year-old retired Detroit fire.
E-Man 7188 says this has nothing to do with the black community. Then I'm going to ask you this question. Why are people like Dana Zeigler and Jeffrey Zeigler so afraid of young black youth? Can you answer that question for me? I'll wait for your message in the chat. I'm going to keep playing the video. I didn't say the boy was guilty. I said the boy was about to pay for the sins of the black community. S. Dot. Does anybody in the chat understand this, or am I stupid? The boy is not guilty. The boy was about to be made guilty for the sins of the black community as a whole. You can blame the media, but the black people are still doing stupid shit out in the hood. In other neighborhoods, robbing gas stations, robbing people at gunpoint, kicking in people's doors, kicking in each other's doors. Every day you can log into Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and find somebody fighting. People that look just like them. The mothers are fighting. The kids are fighting. The boys are fighting. The men are fighting. Black men are killing and shooting and stabbing and robbing each other every single day. My point is that when you show your ass, then but understand that people are going to see the shit stains in your drawers. Let me say that again. And I don't give a fuck if you flag me or not. When you show your ass to the world, believe that everyone is going to see your shit stains in your drawers. Hello. World star, world star. The reason why I'm here, the reason why Tommy does what he does, the reason why we speak a message that you motherfuckers don't seem to understand is because you look at a situation and you say, this white man shot at a black man, throw away the key, he's guilty, end of story. It's not the end of the motherfucking story if we still have black lives and black children and children in general at risk of losing their lives because we are not correcting the actions and mindsets of the people. The reason why he shot at him was because of the mindset. Well, who put the mindset there? This man was not old enough to own slaves. This man is not old enough to have enforced Jim Crow on anybody. He's not a politician. He's a fucking firefighter. He's considered to be low class, just like a lot of the rest of us. He's not upper class. He's considered to be really fucking normal. Rich white folks ain't gonna look at him and say, you're one of us. Not on a firefighter's salary. I have firefighters in my family, and I'm telling you that they're not upper echelon type people. They're getting by just like a lot of us are. The struggle doesn't know a color line. But what I'm telling you is that when you see a snake in the grass, you don't ask if it's poisonous. This is something you hear Tommy talk about all the time. You prevent the mindset from happening. How? Because we need to stop doing stupid shit that makes us look stupid so other people think that we're stupid. So when they see us, if you thought to ask that black man, what's 1 + 1? You don't expect for the motherfucker to give you the right answer. Does everybody understand that? You want people to think that you're going to give the right answer when asked a question. You want people to think that you have sense when they see you. This is in no shape, form, or fashion this young black man's fault, except for him missing the bus and for him not knowing his route to school. Things you could do to maybe not get yourself caught up in the intricacies in life. Yes, we could admit that. Small piece, small piece. The bigger story and the bigger picture, which is the reason why I picked this story. Guys, y'all have to understand, there's a reason why I picked these stories. There's a million fucking stories out there in the world. The reason why I picked these stories is because there is a bigger narrative that I believe that most people aren't capable of comprehending until they hear it put a certain way. The way that I'm putting it is if we didn't encourage him to have this mindset, he don't walk out and just believe his wife there's a burglar if he sees a white kid standing at his door. Why? Because they don't have a fear of white kids shooting each other in the street, kicking each other's ass in the street, breaking into each other's houses. The stupid shit that gets them the stereotypes that we are perpetuating. Understand, when it comes to stereotypes, don't get mad that we call them out. Get mad that they exist because we do them.
Fighter was taken into court last night. The Oakland County Sheriff says he chased a teen away from his porch and shot at him.
The 14-year-old says he'd gotten lost walking to school and knocked on the man's home to ask for directions. Our Coco McAvoy is live at the Oakland County Jail with reaction from the boy's mother now that the homeowner has been freed on bond. Good evening, Coco.
Yes, good evening to both of you. I've been speaking to her throughout the day, and when Jeffrey Zeigler bonded out of jail, she told me she was shocked. And when he walked out of jail here this afternoon, we were the only station here to ask him a few questions. Jeffrey Zeigler tried covering his face as he swiftly walked out of the Oakland County Jail this afternoon. You said you had a lot to say in court, that there's more to come. What's more to come in this? Because the surveillance video corroborates the teen's story. Anything you have to say about that? Silence from Zeigler, much different from his arraignment earlier today.
There's a lot more to the story than what's being told, and I believe that'll all come out in court.
Zeigler was itching to get his side of the story out there before getting cut off by the judge.
I was in bed yesterday morning when my wife started screaming and crying.
I don't want to hear about the facts of the case at all. And all I'm asking you right now is, do you have any comments regarding the bond?
He is being charged with assault with intent to murder after allegedly shooting at...
And again, this is the picture of the boy and his mom. This is something me and Tommy talk about all the time. Where's hashtag, where is the father? Can we ask that question? Or are you guys going to get mad at me for asking that question? Hashtag, where is the father?
14-year-old Bryn Walker with a shotgun. Walker knocked on his door to simply get directions to school.
You know what? Now that I'm looking at his house for Mr. Walker, for the little boy, not we ain't a little boy, but for that 9th grader to jet from that front door all the way to almost the edge of the street, that kind of distance, that's what, 25 yards maybe at an angle from the mailbox to the front door, how far do y'all think that is? I think that's about 25 yards. That means that boy was moving. He was gone. So for Jeffrey Zeigler to aim his shotgun that fucking far away, I think is like he deserves every bit of time he's going to get and some. For that kid to be that far away from your front porch and for you to shoot in his direction, I think that's just fucked up. It really is.
But Zeigler's wife assumed Walker was trying to rob them.
She thought I was trying to break in. She asked me, why are you trying to break into my house?
The incident has sparked conversation about whether or not the shooting was racially motivated. The sheriff's department.
E-Man, you got one more time to make assumptions in my chat, and I'm going to just block you, and you'll have to sign into another account. I pretty much know who you are, but if you keep saying the same things in my chat, I'm going to block you. I don't normally block people here on the So Do You Dig. I like for people to talk, but not you. Not today. Say it again, and your ass is done.
Condemned Zeigler's actions altogether. As part of his release, Zeigler turned over all of his weapons, can't return to his house in Rochester Hills, and will be wearing a GPS tether.
Oh, that's terms of his bond because he bonded out. Damn. Gave up all his guns. I mean, it is what it is. If you agree to terms, it is what it is. It is what it is. Damn.
A verdict this evening in a case making national.
So here's the actual verdict.
A verdict this evening in a case making national headlines. An explosive trial in a Detroit suburb. A homeowner seen on home surveillance firing a shotgun at a black teenager who prosecutors said had missed the bus and was simply going to ask for directions. Tonight, the homeowner's defense and what the jury has now decided. Here's ABC's Alex Perez.
A home security camera in suburban Detroit capturing the harrowing moment 14-year-old Brennan Walker knocked on a stranger's door for help. A woman answers, and seconds later, her husband emerges with a shotgun in hand and opens fire, Walker running for his life.
She thought I was trying to break into her house. I was trying to explain to her that I wanted to get directions to go to my school.
Prosecutors say homeowner Jeffrey Zeigler intended to kill Walker.
We, the jury, find Mr. Zeigler guilty of...
A Michigan jury today convicting him of assault. The teen had missed the bus that day and was lost.
I saw a black person standing at my door, and I screamed at him, and I asked him what he was doing there. He tells me that he is...
Whoever said that they need to look at the wife, I 100% agree with that. Because like I said, she's the one that hyped this thing up. From the jump. It's the wife's fault. Is it the husband's fault for believing his wife over anybody? I've been married once before. And I'm compelled to believe that you should be able to believe your life partner when they tell you some shit. I don't know if we have any married people in the chat. Maybe some of you people are in relationships. How many of you people in my chat are in a relationship with somebody that you love, you care about, will ride and die for? Anybody? If you are, then my question is to you. If the person you'll ride and die for tells you something happened and somebody is threatening that person's life, would you protect them at all costs? Just let me know what you guys think.
Going to school.
Zeigler's wife says he was opening the screen door. Her husband says he never meant to aim at Walker.
I wanted it to fire more up in the air, more towards my shoulder, and I didn't get that chance to, like I said, because it was slippery and I didn't have a good grip on the gun.
Prosecutors argue Zeigler acted deliberately.
And again, what he said just right there, and I'm going to back that up, which is why that I said the rest of his story is bullshit, is because what he said was he intended to shoot in the air. No, he didn't. And so to my guy, Rick Rooster, I wanted you to hear this part because I didn't know if you heard this earlier, but he was saying that he did intended to shoot the gun, but supposedly he wasn't aiming in this direction when the gun was trained on that boy the entire time. He said he changed the story here and said he was trying to shoot in the air. But listen again.
More up in the air, more towards my shoulder, and I didn't get that chance to, like I said, because it was slippery and I didn't have a good grip on the gun.
Prosecutors argue Zeigler acted deliberately.
If he didn't intend to hunt him,
he would have stayed in his house. He would have waited for the deputies.
And again, I'm going to say this to the white population out there. This is also why you guys need to be careful when it comes to, you know, jumping into action. And especially when it comes to, it's sad that we have to say that you have to use a little bit more brain power before you just act, especially when it comes to dealing with black folks, because the media will drag you and you will lose that fight. You will lose that fight. But like I said, I just think that it just means that if you know what your situation is, then you know that you have to walk more on eggshells than anybody else at the end of the day. So you're not going to be able to change that, because for so long, black people have felt like, quote unquote, white people have kept their foot in their back, their arm in their neck, and held them down this entire time. Racism and all of this stuff. And all of these things have got us to the point of where we are now, where black people are now using the things that were used against them, against the people that look like the people that used to do stuff to them hundreds of years ago. I think the best thing to do is for both sides to just educate themselves. White people need to understand the climate that we're in. Black people need to understand the climate that we are in. The wife, Dana Zeigler, I'm going to keep putting her name out there. Her name is Dana Zeigler, Zeigler. She needs to understand the fact that she put her husband's life completely at risk. He's going to lose all of his weapons, all of his guns, and his freedom behind his wife's irrationalism. That is the climate that they live in. White people understand that dynamic. When it comes to black people, understand why people don't like you and understand why people are shooting at you indiscriminately when they feel like they have a good opportunity to do so. Why? Because as the black community, we as a whole perpetuate the things that people think about us. Don't get mad at the stereotype. Get mad at the person that is perpetuating, doing, enacting, behaving, using the stereotype to push this message against their own people. Get mad at those folks. Get mad at the gangbangers. Get mad at the thugs. Get mad at the robbers. Get mad at the people that look like you that are doing this type of thing.
And Alex Perez with us live tonight. And Alex, that homeowner is now facing the possibility of prison time.
That's right, David. He is set to be sentenced next month and could face up to 12 years behind bars. As for that teenager, he was not injured in the shooting. David?
Alex Perez with us tonight. Alex, thank you.
Hi, everyone.
All right. And again, man, I'd like to thank you guys for coming through to the show. I thought this was a very important thing to point out to you guys. So we're going to cut it right there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do two things. I'm going to open this thing up. If you guys want to call in and tell me what your thoughts are or explain something that maybe I missed, then email me at thesodayoudig@gmail.com right here. And I'll take your email and I'll take your calls real quick. If you guys want to call in and tell me if you disagree with anything that I've said in this story. All right. But until then, I'm going to continue to push this message right here. Thank you guys for joining the show.
If you choose to ask me today, do Black Lives Matter? Let me answer like this. No, Black lives do not matter. Black lives will not matter. Black lives ought not matter. Black lives should not matter. Black lives must not matter until black people start respecting black lives and stop killing ourselves. Black lives can never matter.